From Atlantic Elementary. That's awesome. Um, shall we get started?
I remember talking to you at some point in the past. Now, did you get the Wild Florida Rescue number from me?
Oh, now we're live streaming on Facebook. So,
Obviously,
Bree, are we good to start? Let me know. Okay.
You are good to start.
Awesome. Okay. Woo. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our November virtual field trip of the fall season. The future of wildlife is in our hands. I'm your host, Megan Silva, Environmental Programs Coordinator for the City of Melbourne Eco Division. Bree and Katie with the Marine Resources Council are our moderators for today. We'll be getting an exclusive inside look into the Florida Wildlife Hospital, where injured wildlife is taken care of. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our special guest today, Lindsay Mayer, who will be giving us an awesome tour of the day-to-day functioning of this amazing hospital and how you can help save an injured animal. I wanted to share some quick reminders with you before we go further introducing our speaker. All participants are muted. And if you have a question, please just put them into the Q&A down below. We do have the chat, but please refrain from using the chat as much as possible until the end of our presentation when there's questions. Lindsay is the outreach and volunteer coordinator for the Florida Wildlife Hospital, and she's also an experienced animal care professional who has worked with wildlife rehabilitation in the zoo industry for over the last decade, working with animals ranging from squirrels to Komodo dragons. So thank you so much for joining us today, Lindsay. Good morning.
I'm very excited to be here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Florida Wildlife Hospital. I'm excited to give you a tour behind the scenes today. But first, I'm going to talk a little bit about our hospital and tell you about us. I'm going to switch over to a PowerPoint. We help sick, injured, and orphaned Florida wildlife and help get them strong and healthy and return them to their homes in the wild. We are open every single day of the year to take in animals. If our building is closed, you can drop them off in our drop boxes and our night staff will come and get them and take care of them. We get over 5,000 patients every year. That's a lot of animals. This year has been our busiest year yet. And so far to date, we have had 5,448 patients across 226 different species. A lot of critters. There are a few animals we cannot accept. We are not allowed to rehab non-native species. This is because non-native animals are often harmful to our native species. We cannot take venomous snakes. We don't take sea turtles because the sea turtle hospital is at the Brevard Zoo. We don't do marine mammals because SeaWorld does marine mammals. And we don't do alligators. We are licensed by the state and U.S. Fish and Wildlife to rehab wildlife. You are not allowed to do this on your own. And our permits don't allow people into the buildings because more people means more stress for our animals, and that's not good for them. So I'm very happy to let you see behind the scenes on our tour today. So right now, we are in the front office, and this is the only part of the building that the public ever really gets to see. This is where animals are dropped off. So we are going to head to the authorized personnel only section. The first stop an animal takes after it has been admitted is to go to intake. Oftentimes animals are stressed from having been caught and transported. So they come in here where we have lots of carriers and containers and heating pads, and let them have a quiet place to sort of settle in before we do their exam. Then from there, they'll head to treatment. But we're going to take a quick stop at the lab. In here, we have some equipment that helps us take care of wildlife. These are autoclaves. They're machines that got really, really, really hot to disinfect or kill germs on the equipment that we use. And over here are some microscopes. We use those to look at skin scrapings to see if there's parasites in an animal and to do fecals. That means we look at their poop. We also have some animals in here that need more quiet and separated from the other animals. There's a little bunny hiding in that log. Moving on to treatment. Off to the side here, we have our X-ray room where we can check for broken bones and very often see if there are hooks in our patients, because a lot of our birds that eat fish also get hooks in them because the fish have hooks in them. In our treatment area, this tub off to the side is where we can give animals flea baths and often where we teach our otters to swim for the first time. We don't have any patients being treated right now, so I thought I would share some photos so you could see what goes on for all the little different types of critters that we treat. This first one is a pelican, and they are putting sutures or stitches in a hole in its neck and checking out its mouth. This little screech owl is going to be getting some fluids, and they're also looking at an injury on its wing. This turtle is getting some fluids, and the other staff person is making sure that the one giving fluids doesn't get bit, because anything with a mouth can bite. And then we're treating a little juvenile opossum here. We are going to continue our tour down the hallway. You see some incubators, a computer for doing charting. This is another isolation room. Right now, there is a yellow rat snake in there. You may have seen on Facebook, it's the patient that swallowed a dummy egg, not a real egg. The Brevard Zoo helped us do some surgery. We go through a lot of laundry. Every animal gets its own towel. They don't share, and then we have to wash them before we can use them again. So we have lots of pillowcases and sheets and washcloths. We're now heading into our CCU, which is where we keep our water birds and also raptors. Raptors are things like owls, hawks, and falcons. I'm just going to take a quick peek. There's a great blue heron here. You can kind of see why we don't do tours. Our animals don't like being seen. Yeah. One of our awesome volunteers is going to let us take a quick little look at our osprey patients. One more animal in here. We've got our tub room. Try to get into focus, where all of our water birds can get some time in the water. And then we've got a soft-shelled turtle in here right now. Getting some water time. Continuing down the hallway. Got a billboard with our awesome staff. There's a board thanking our amazing volunteers. We could not function without our volunteers here at the hospital. They are awesome. They are the most caring and compassionate and hardworking people, and we are so thankful to have them. Now we're heading down to one of our ambassador animals. This is Gonzo. He is an eastern screech owl. He came in when he was a baby and his wing was broken, so he can't fly and therefore can't be released into the wild. Screech owls come in red, gray, and brown morphs, and this is one of our red morphs right here. Oh, hello, little Gonzo. He's gonna fly off. Over to his other perch. Good job, Gonzo. Gonzo not only is an ambassador helping to teach people about our native Florida wildlife, but he's also a really good foster dad. And I'll show you some pictures of him with his kiddos. When we get in our baby screech owls, they can go in with him and they can see how an adult screech owl eats its food, makes its noises, and behaves like an owl instead of looking at us, because we want it to learn to be an owl and not a person. So he has multiple jobs here at the hospital. Continuing back down, our commissary is where all of our food preparation gets done. We also do a lot of dishes with a lot of things. Another amazing volunteer. Food and greens. Currently in need of a new fridge. We use a lot of fridges and freezers. And then this is our nursery where we keep our baby animals, usually baby birds, squirrels, rabbits, and opossums. We've got some salads here for our tortoises. These guys are kept inside so their wounds or whatever they're healing from stays nice and clean. And then we have volunteers who take them out on walks so they can get some sunshine and get to eat some of the native plants if they want to. You can see all of our animals are sort of covered so that they don't see people, but we're gonna peek underneath as they go hide. These are some of our squirrels. There's some opossums sleeping back there. We have some teeny tiny little tortoises. And incubators for our really young animals. Peek in here. Can't really see anybody in that one. Look, there's a little head sticking out. Another rabbit. Now, we are gonna head outside just a little bit. We have quite a few acres with lots of outdoor caging, but the ones you see now are the ones that keep our ambassador animals. And you're gonna meet one of those ambassador animals right now. He is gonna help us learn about the things that we can do to help wildlife. But first, let's do some poll questions. How many animals does the Wildlife Hospital take in each year? I'll give you some hints. Not 1,000 to 2,000, not 7,000 to 8,000. We take in 5,000 to 6,000 animals every single year. And which of the following is an animal the hospital does not? We definitely have a lot of squirrels. Sometimes we have over 100 squirrels at a time. We get a lot of pelicans. Those are the ones that most often have hooks, which is why it's important to put your fishing line in those recycling bins you see at the beach. We do bobcats. We actually just released a bobcat today that was hit by a car, but we don't do sea turtles because those guys go to the Brevard Zoo. All right. If you guys want to help wildlife, you can bring them to us if they are sick, injured, orphaned, or in an unsafe situation. And always remember that wildlife can be dangerous. Even when it's cute and fluffy, they have natural defenses. So make sure you get a grown-up, and even grown-ups, make sure that you feel safe transporting an animal. And if not, call us and we can tell you who can bring it to us, because we never want anybody to get injured rescuing wildlife. And there are certain things like bobcats, otters, bats that can carry rabies that we don't want anybody touching. So now, let's meet down. Don't go. And he is here because he is missing his front right arm. Gopher tortoises dig burrows in the wild, and without his front arm, he wouldn't be able to dig a burrow and have a home, so he can't be released. So he's going to help us learn about what we should rescue. If an animal is sick, it may be acting abnormal, and it's good because raccoons stay out at night, are sometimes out during the day. There are lots of birds that like to stand on one leg and check with us. Or usually for an orphan. It's when
You're freezing up there, Lindsay. We lost you there a little bit, Lindsay. You froze up.
Lindsay, you're also on mute, just letting you know.
All right, sorry about that. Outside is not working. So we're gonna come back and hang out with Gonza while we finish talking about things. Is it back up to being in sync?
Yeah, you look great. I know you were talking about gopher tortoises, and they are really important species here in Florida.
So our gopher tortoises dig burrows using those front arms. And hopefully you got to see that Dan is missing his front right arm, so he can't be released again. But gopher tortoises dig burrows that over 350 other animals use. So they're super important for our ecosystems and a lot of different animals. Do you guys hear anything about rescuing sick, injured, orphan stuff? I'm gonna go back over that.
No, if you'd like to go over that, that'd be awesome.
All right. So if you want to help animals in need, you're looking for whether they're sick, injured, orphaned, or unsafe. A sick animal may be behaving weirdly, not doing what it normally does, not looking quite right. It's always good to call and check with us and see if what they're doing is normal or not, if you don't know. An animal is injured, you may see blood, fishing line wrapped around it, ants on it. Those guys usually need to come into us so we can help get them better. Orphaned wildlife is when it's been separated from its parents, but we get a lot of orphaned wildlife that wasn't actually orphaned. Baby rabbits, their mom only usually visits them twice a day, so if you see them, you probably won't see a parent around. That doesn't mean they're necessarily orphaned. It's good to keep an eye on the nest or put something like leaves around it and come back and see if it's been disturbed the next day, and then you can see if somebody's been at the nest or not. Baby squirrels, moms will come back for them even if they fall to the ground, so it's a good idea to watch them and see if mom comes. Baby turtles are on their own from the day they hatch. So sometimes people bring us baby turtles and tortoises because they don't see mom around, but mom won't be around because they are fully capable of taking care of themselves from the day they hatch. So make sure an animal really is orphaned and needs our help before bringing it into us, because mom is always going to do a better job than we are. Head back out. I didn't really get much of a chance to show you outside because we don't have signal. So let me go back And show you some of our outside cages, at least so you can see some pictures of them. So we brought a lot of different outdoor enclosures because we have a lot of different types of animals. So we have one cage that is 100 feet long so that our big birds have lots of room to fly and grow their flight strength. We have a cage with a giant pond in it because our water birds need to be able to swim around. We have a cage for raccoons that has lots of climbing space. We have a cage for screech owls, which is in desperate need of repair. And on Giving Tuesday, we are actually collecting funds to hopefully rebuild our screech owl cage because it's kind of falling down. There are other things you can do besides rescuing wildlife. And I'm going to introduce you to another ambassador to tell you about those things. So it's more fun looking at animals than it is at PowerPoint slides. This is Bella. She's an American kestrel. And this is the smallest falcon in North America. And Bella is here because somebody took her out of the wild and kept her to rehab themselves, which again, you're not supposed to do. And she did not get raised right, and she imprinted, which means she thinks she's people instead of a bird, and she doesn't have the skills she needs to be able to live out in the wild. So Bella is going to help us know that to help birds, you can decorate your windows. We get a lot of birds that fly into windows because they can't see that they're there. So if you put streamers or decals or something so they can see the glass, it helps prevent birds from coming in. You can keep bird baths and bird feeders clean because if you don't clean them, they can spread disease. You can keep cats indoors and dogs on leashes because we get a lot of animals that have been attacked by pets. If you see baby animals or nests, leave them alone because you don't want to disturb our wildlife. Making sure you dispose of old fishing line is really important. You get a lot of animals that are tangled up. Definitely picking up any trash you see and not littering is really important for our animals. Never release pets into the wild. Make sure you do your 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. You can also help the hospital by donating. We're often in need of things like bleach, laundry detergent, dish detergent, all kinds of cleaning supplies really, or money to do things like build new cages and buy food for our patients. You can also attend events that we have going on. And to show you a little bit of our rescuing, I'm going to show you a few more photos of things that have been tangled in trash. And again, you can come to our events. This Saturday is actually our Hoot in the Park event at Wickham Park. It's from 10 to 2. You'll be able to see some of the ambassador animals you saw today and more. And we've got a lot of cool vendors, food trucks, big raffle table, lure courses for dogs, sort of a dog-friendly event. So if you can come, it's another way to learn more about us and we can tell you more about our wildlife. But back to litter. Super important to pick up litter. So many animals have injuries from getting caught in things, which is why we always cut our 6-pack rings. Cans, you can crush them. And actually, that's one of the things you can donate. We recycle the aluminum. And if you want to bring your crushed cans here, there's bins out front that you can put them in. This pelican had a whole bunch of litter that it was dragging behind it. This little raccoon got into a rubber band that got caught around its neck. He was fine. We fixed him up, but it's good to cut rubber bands or other round things that they could get stuck in. And this snake is tangled in a whole lot of netting. Those things are especially dangerous for wildlife. So that brings us to our last set of poll questions. If you find a healthy gopher tortoise baby, what should you do? You're definitely not going to put it back in the water. That's something we get. People bring us gopher tortoises because they tried to put it in the ocean and it didn't swim because they confused gopher tortoises and sea turtles. They are similar, but they're not the same. They live in totally different places. You're not going to take it home as a pet. You don't need to bring it to the wildlife hospital if it's healthy. You're just going to leave it alone. And which are the following ways you can help wildlife? Go through some of these. Could it be window decorations? Or litter? Or keeping our feeders and bird baths clean? Because it is all of the above. Those are all good things to do to keep our wildlife healthy and safe. So thank you so much for going on our tour with us today. We hope you've enjoyed getting to see some of the rooms behind the scenes. And now I think that they're going to share some questions with me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lindsay. So we've got a couple questions for you. Sarah Perry asked, do you put the turtles on a leash when you walk them outside?
We do not put the turtles on a leash. They move slow enough that we can keep an eye on them and just sort of follow them around. But we do have one person per one turtle or tortoise, and you're not allowed to have your cell phone out or be distracted by anything because they can take off kind of quickly when they want to.
Okay. And what should we do if an animal is not in danger, but their home may be destroyed by people like mowing the burrow of like a rabbit or a gopher tortoise? Can it be relocated?
That's a really good question too. It sort of depends on the situation. If there's somewhere close by that you can relocate it, or after it's been mowed, if you can sort of leave it alone. A lot of times with people that have dogs in the yard, we'll see if they can put like a chair or something over to it where the rabbit can get to it, but the dog can't. So definitely sometimes we can relocate them, but it depends. So that's one of those situations that I would say just call our front desk and we can work you through it.
Great. And then Lindsay Dyer asks, why were there pumpkins outside?
So we go through a lot of food here, and after Halloween, we get a lot of pumpkin donations. So pumpkin's pretty good for digestion, and we use it as food to feed our animals. We'll cut up pieces of pumpkin, we'll puree the pumpkins, we'll bake the seeds, and then they have a nice seed that they can eat. However, sometimes we get so many pumpkins that we don't know what to do with them, and those were just extra pumpkins that I thought would look nice, so I put Dan by them.
Have you ever taken care of a Florida panther?
No Florida panthers, not yet. Some other big things, probably the bobcat is the biggest thing that we've done. There's not a lot of Florida panthers around, so therefore we don't really get them.
Right. Robin asks, how many kinds of animals do you have? I guess currently.
I did not count off the top of my head, but I know that we have our yellow rat snake, another type of turtle, great blue heron, the osprey, 2 different screech owls, a bunch of rabbits, 2 opossums, that 1 cage of squirrels. I don't actually know everything else that we have, but this is the slowest time of year for us. So this is the least amount you'll ever see in the hospital. This is the easy time where we take on other projects and cleaning things and building things before all the patients start coming back in again.
Great. And Miss LeBrun asks, why should you not touch wild turtles?
Wild turtles can carry salmonella, which is something that makes you sick. So especially baby turtles are more likely to have it. So 1, it could get you sick because there are diseases that can go from animals to humans. And 2, it's not very nice for the turtles to have people coming up and touching them.
Right. Unless if you're helping them cross the road, right?
Unless you're helping them cross the road. And that's the
and how should we do that?
So if you're helping them cross the road, it helps to know what kind it is, because there are some turtles that have really long necks and sharp beaks, and anything with a mouth can bite. So picking them up sort of on the sides towards the back, and then carrying them over and dropping them. Or if you know that it's a snapping turtle, they're the ones with kind of the bumpy skin, you can find something like a broom or anything else you have in your car and try to just push it across the road instead of touching it. because you don't really want to pick up a snapping turtle unless you've been trained how to pick up a snapping turtle.
Might get snapped.
It does. And they can jump.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, and so Miss LeBrun also asked if you rescue bears by any chance.
We have never gotten a bear here.
Yeah, they're not quite around here either, huh?
I think they're a little bit farther north for us. So if we ever got one in, we might, but we might also work with other animal agencies that do more and have more experience with bears.
Great. Another question is, are there any training programs at the hospital?
So we have our volunteer program, which we're taking on limited volunteers right now because we're still trying to keep everybody sort of distanced inside. But we train people mostly to help with the supporting things like doing dishes, doing laundry, cleaning cages, which is all really important and needs to get done to care for the animals so that they can get healthy, and takes a lot of time. We do have volunteers that help us with some of the other animal things like cleaning out the CCU cages or working with our resident birds. We have an internship program for people in the animal field that are interested in working with wildlife during the summer. We have a vet externship that we do with the Brevard Zoo and SeaWorld so that vet students can come in and learn a little bit about wildlife. But for your average person, it's mostly just the programs that we do in the public, if you're interested in learning more, or a volunteer program. And when that is open, there's a link to it on our website.
Yeah, and again, if anybody is free on Saturday, Hoot in the Park is the perfect place to go. It's at Wickham Park from 10 to 2, and you can ask all these questions. And if you want to volunteer, there'll be volunteers there to answer those. Coral Pup asked, yeah, another question. Where do you release rehabbed animals?
So we try our best to release it where it came from. So whenever somebody brings in a patient, we get information like what they've done with the animal, how long they've had it, where did they find it. And so then when we go release it again, we try to release it in the same area that we got it from.
Great. And so we have one more question. You've been so awesome, Lindsay. Thank you again. How do you catch wild birds? Is Miss Morris's class is asking.
So wild birds, usually if they're so sick that they need to come to us, are not being themselves and are easier to catch than they should be. A lot of times we'll recommend taking a giant sheet and throwing it over them. That can help keep their beak and feet busy so that you have a chance to grab them and they don't try to come after you quite as much. So throwing a sheet over something that needs rescuing can help. There are people that use cast nets, like the things they use for catching fish, to sort of throw and capture a bird so it doesn't have a chance to fly away. It's really hard to catch a bird that still has the ability to fly, like if they have a leg injury or something. But usually tossing something over it.
Right, yeah. There is actually one more question someone just put in. Do you all need towels?
Do we what?
Do you need towels?
Oh, we do often ask for linen donations. I don't know that we need any right now, but you can always go on our website and we keep an updated wish list of the things that we're running low on. So I don't think we need any now, but you can kind of check back in with us and we'll let you know when we do need more towels and sheets and things.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again to everyone who attended our virtual field trip this morning, and also to Lindsay for helping us understand what the Florida Hospital does and how to help animals when you see an injured animal, how to respect wildlife, and yeah, be a good steward. So we look forward to seeing you on Saturday at Hoot in the Park. And hope everyone
on Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be there. City of Melbourne will be there. So we'll see you on Saturday. And thank you everyone for coming today. Have a good day.